Welcome to Roundglass. My name is Vishvapani Blomfield, and thank you so much for joining me for this meditation on finding connection, which is part of a special series for Suicide Prevention Week, Creating Hope, Inspiring Change. So in the practice today, we'll be exploring a sense of being connected with ourselves, with others, and with the world. This practice is offered for anyone who's at risk of harming themselves, but also for anyone who's connected to someone in that position, or who has been affected by this whole realm of experience. Personally, this is quite close to home. So a member of my family very sadly took their life just 2 years ago, and in fact almost to the day we've been marking that anniversary. And so I know in my own experience that there are no shortcuts, there are no easy solutions, there are no panaceas that will make everything okay. There's no meditation practice that will magically solve all of the deep issues that lie behind someone taking their life or even attempting to do so. The old view of suicide among psychologists is as it's often a cry for help. Well, that may well be the case, but one of the leading psychologists in Britain, someone who I know quite well, called Mark Williams, who's also one of the pioneers of mindfulness, says, no, it's not a cry for help, it's a cry of pain. And in his book on this subject, he says that when inconsolable sorrow overwhelms any of us, it's the most natural thing in the world for us to want to get rid of it. We do anything to stop it hurting so much. So that's the territory that we're in. We're in the territory of suffering, in the territory of pain. And if we want to explore that in our own experience, in other people's experience, we need to start exploring how we relate to pain. Why does it hurt so much? What do we bring to our experience that is so painful, so unbearable? And of course, this is complex. It varies from person to person. But I want to just start with what Mark Williams and other psychologists draw out as a general pattern. And this is that things happen to us, there are events, and then there are feelings. And then what we do, Mark Williams says, is we draw conclusions from those events. And then having drawn the conclusion, that becomes a belief, becomes a thought. We can't stop thinking about ourselves and our lives in a way that means we come to believe those thoughts are true. So we need to get some perspective. We need to shift our relationship to whatever's happened that's difficult, and we need to find a different way to experience our thoughts. And there are many aspects to what we can do, and connection is one aspect of the perspective that we need to change our relationship with others. We may feel disconnected from our bodies, from our emotions, our surroundings, and from other people. So how can we explore another perspective which is true, which is that we are connected in many ways? All of us are, even if we don't feel it. We may know that intellectually, but can we learn to feel it emotionally? So that's what we're going to be exploring in the practice today. This kind of approach draws on mindfulness-based approaches, And there are many other ways that they can help depression as well. And that's often what I find myself doing in my work as a mindfulness teacher. So here we are engaged in the realm of technology. Technology can disconnect us from others, but it can also be a way of connecting. So I would love to feel connected with everyone who's practicing right now. I invite you to say hi in the chat. Just share how you are. Just briefly share how you are and have a sense of how everyone else is. So even as we do this, we're going to start with the practice. We're going to start engaging with the meditation. So we need to be comfortable but alert. So just find a posture that's right for you, that gives you those two things. Sense of being settled, grounded, relaxed, but also feeling the whole height of the body, shoulders opening, perhaps if we're sitting up. Take a breath. It's quite heavy talking about these subjects, and it affects me to think of what my family has been through. So let's just take a breath. Breathe out, and it's always good just to have this sense of letting go. Just let go. And arriving in the body, bringing our attention right into the body, feeling the connection with the floor beneath us, with our support if we're sitting on a cushion or a stool or a chair. Just feeling the body resting down. Just letting go. Coming present, and when we do, the body will also naturally rise up if we're sitting. If we're sitting on a soft chair, then just come away from the back of the chair so your spine can feel free. Maybe take another deep breath. So we'll start with a broad awareness that takes in the body as a whole. Just softening around the eyes. So we let go of any sense of strain, of looking. Softening the eyes and the eyebrows and all those muscles, and the cheeks as well. So forehead smooth, face soft. And just connecting with the breath, feeling the breath. Flowing in and flowing out. Just giving ourselves the space we need to connect with our experience in the moment. That's however our experience is. If we notice any thoughts that say, I should be feeling this, I should be calm, I shouldn't have any thoughts. This is a meditation practice. Just notice that. Just notice that that's a judging thought. That's what the mind does. So just notice it as a thought. Come back to the breath, come back to the body. Noticing our thoughts in general. Any sense that they take us away from being here? Thoughts about the past, thoughts about the future. Worries, things we regret. Those things may be present in our mind right now. They may be things that will come up as we sit. They might just be familiar things that we know from our experience. Just noticing how those thoughts disconnect us. They take us somewhere else. How does it feel to connect again with the body, resting, breathing, settling? Coming back to here. Now. So connecting more deeply with our experience, which may be pleasant, it may be painful. It's certainly changing. Moment by moment. Feeling present, feeling connected. And having a sense of the room we're in, the space we're in. Maybe listening, hearing sounds. Do we feel connected to this space? Or disconnected? What is that feeling? In the body? What helps us connect? To feel present? So we'll just take a little bit of time just to be here. If thoughts come, just notice them. Just notice what they're telling us. Notice where they're pulling us. And coming back. Feeling the breath. anchored by the breath. Feelings, allowing space for our feelings. As we sit, as we breathe, whatever's there is okay. Now, bringing to mind the people in our lives. And just noticing any sense of connection to those people or disconnection. How other people affect us, how we affect other people. For good or ill, we're connected. And bringing to mind everyone who's doing the practice, wherever they are in the world, everyone turning towards their minds, sensing their connection with others. All of us, right now, connected with each other, sharing the moment, sharing this practice. And those connections rippling out from our life to all the people that we know, all the people that they know. Everything in the world that sustains us, from food and air and water to the things that make a society. All the ways that we contribute and impact on other people for better or for worse. So coming back to here, to the body, to the breath. Just feeling sensing, experiencing the body, breath, thoughts and feelings. The whole of our experience. And then starting to move towards the end of the practice. Just going to introduce a little bit of movement so that we can make a gentle transition. Rolling shoulders, if that helps. Maybe moving the neck, perhaps stretching. So in your own way, bringing the practice to a close. It's always good to just pay attention to the transition that comes at the end of the practice. Just not to jar ourselves, to make that a smooth transition. Let's just take a few minutes and we can absorb our experience in that time. Just let it settle. So what happened? Just noticing, were you able to settle the mind? Your thoughts wandering? We were exploring connection and disconnection. So how did it feel to be disconnected or connected to our body and our emotional experience and to other people? That these were reflections because we can't experience that directly. Whatever happened, just notice. With something like this, the capacity to sense connectedness, and there's no right or wrong. It's something we just need to explore and learn bit by bit. If you found it helpful to think of awareness in terms of connection, then you might consider bringing that to every meditation practice. And where we become aware of the body, it's about connecting with the body. connecting with a sense of being fully present, maybe connecting with other people through the imagination. This is also something that we can apply in our lives as a whole outside of meditation. And it could be helpful to explore this. For example, in the course of the day, helpful in questions include, what am I connected to just now? How do I recognize this? How do I know that sense of connection? When I feel connected to a place or a person, what's that like? And what does it feel like physically, emotionally? Can I choose a stronger connection in this moment? For example, when you're with a person, you notice that you're not really giving them your attention. So how do I do that? And other times when I notice that what I do creates a sense of disconnection. I mean, for example, you might be bored or distracted or something like that. So how do I connect with myself? What makes a difference to doing that, and what difference does it make? So you see that it's a very rich area to explore. This whole area of connection, disconnection, it's quite fundamental to who we are and quite fundamental to the things that give our life a meaning. Meaning isn't something that springs up spontaneously from us as isolated individuals, because in truth we aren't isolated individuals. We experience ourselves almost like nodes in a network through our connection to others, through our place in the world, through what we can give, through what we receive. And all that is going on, whether we're aware of it or not. It's really about bringing our attention to it, just exploring it, opening to that perspective. So I'm going to finish with a quote, it's a very famous quotation, or at least parts of it are, from John Donne. Now, Donne lived at the same time as Shakespeare, and he was famous as a writer really for two things, or two kinds of writing. For one thing, he was a love poet, and for another thing, he was a clergyman. He actually became quite a senior member of the Church of England. And people often wonder how these two things went together. Anyway, they did in his life somehow or other. Perhaps one phase of his life being followed by another, or perhaps not. So there's a famous meditation which he wrote that expresses a profound truth of our connection to others and to the world. No man is an island, entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. If a clod be washed away by the sea, Europe is the less, as well as if a promontory were, as well as if a manor of thy friends or of thine own were. Any man's death diminishes me, because I am involved in mankind, and therefore never send to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. So thank you for joining me. Follow me on my profile to practice this session again, and see when I'm live next. Have a good day and stay connected.